Bam Adebayo traded for Austin Reaves could change the course of the NBA. Stay until the end to find out everything, but first leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any news from the Lakers. In the ever-evolving world of professional basketball, few things stir the league more than a high-stakes trade rumor involving star players. Recently, such a rumor has surfaced, one that, if it materializes, could significantly reshape the competitive landscape of the NBA. At the center of this swirling speculation are two intriguing names: Bam Adebayo, the defensive anchor of the Miami Heat, and Austin Reaves, a rising talent currently making waves with the Los Angeles Lakers. The premise of this potential transaction stems from the Lakers' ongoing mission to remain contenders while keeping their franchise cornerstone, LeBron James, satisfied and engaged. As he approaches the twilight of his storied career, James remains determined to pursue another championship. The Lakers, aware of the urgency of their situation, are reportedly considering bold moves to strengthen their roster and convince LeBron to stay for at least one more title run. According to reporting by Jackson Caudell and Rohan Raman of Sports Illustrated, the trade under consideration would involve three franchises: the Los Angeles Lakers, the Miami Heat, and the Atlanta Hawks. In this proposed deal, the Lakers would acquire Bam Adebayo, giving them an elite two-way player capable of anchoring their defense while contributing solidly on offense. In exchange, the Heat would receive a package consisting of Austin Reaves, Gabe Vincent, rookie Dalton Knecht, and a first-round pick in the 2031 NBA Draft. The Hawks, playing the role of facilitator, would take on the contract of Maxi Kleber, helping to balance the financial aspects of the deal. While Atlanta's role may appear secondary, it is crucial in making the deal work under the complex salary cap constraints of the modern NBA. By absorbing Kleber's contract, the Hawks allow both the Lakers and Heat to operate more freely within their payroll structures, making the overall trade financially feasible. Though they wouldn't receive a marquee name in return, the Hawks benefit by gaining a capable veteran while maintaining flexibility for future moves. From a basketball perspective, the implications of this trade are enormous. For the Lakers, landing Bam Adebayo could be a game-changer. His ability to guard multiple positions, initiate offense from the high post, and dominate in the paint would dramatically enhance the team's competitiveness. He would bring a new level of toughness and versatility to a team already boasting the talents of LeBron James and other stars. Adebayo's presence could also help reduce the physical burden on LeBron, preserving his effectiveness throughout the season. Meanwhile, the Miami Heat would be pivoting toward a younger core. Although parting with Adebayo would mark the end of an era, gaining a player like Austin Reaves would offer them a fresh and promising piece to build around. Reaves has grown into a highly respected contributor with the Lakers, known for his basketball IQ, clutch shooting, and steady improvement. Gabe Vincent would add playoff experience and toughness in the backcourt, while Dalton Knecht, though unproven, offers untapped potential and youth. The inclusion of a distant first-round draft pick provides Miami with long-term flexibility, whether they use it in a future trade or hold on to it for future development. This potential transaction signals more than just roster changes. It represents a shift in philosophy for the teams involved. The Lakers would be reaffirming their commitment to competing at the highest level, building a roster capable of supporting LeBron's final championship push. The Heat would be embracing a new direction, investing in youth and long-term planning. And the Hawks, often overlooked in these blockbuster talks, would be making a strategic move that could help them in quieter but meaningful ways. If this deal goes through, it would reverberate throughout the league. Not only would it immediately impact the title race, but it could also set a precedent for how franchises navigate the delicate balance between short-term ambition and long-term vision. The NBA has always been a league of dramatic turns and unexpected outcomes, and this trade rumor is shaping up to be one of the most compelling storylines of the offseason. Whether it remains just speculation or becomes a defining moment in recent league history, one thing is clear: the chessboard is in motion and the next move could change everything. The Los Angeles Lakers have never been a franchise known for patience. From Magic Johnson to Kobe Bryant, from Shaquille O'Neal to Anthony Davis, the organization has always operated with one goal in mind: championships. Now, with the window of opportunity narrowing around a 40-year-old LeBron James, the Lakers find themselves once again at a pivotal crossroads. The rumor of acquiring Bam Adebayo represents far more than a typical off-season move. It's a declaration of intent, a bold attempt to extend the twilight of an era and squeeze out one more shot at glory. For Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka and his front office, the pressure is enormous. The 2024-25 season could very well be LeBron's last meaningful campaign. Despite defying time year after year, even James has acknowledged the finite nature of his career. The question haunting the Lakers brass isn't just whether they can win now, it's whether they're doing enough to convince LeBron it's worth staying at all. By targeting Bam Adebayo, they aim to send a clear message: we are all in. Adebayo isn't just another name on the board. He's a two-time All-Star, a relentless defender, a team-first leader, and the kind of player who elevates everyone around him. Pairing him with LeBron could create a dynamic not seen in Los Angeles since the days of Pau Gasol and Kobe, an elite interior presence working seamlessly with an all-time great perimeter playmaker. In a conference that features offensive powerhouses like Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Devin Booker, adding a defensive anchor like Adebayo is not just strategic, it's essential. There's also the matter of fit. Bam's skill set is tailor-made for the kind of basketball the Lakers want to play. He excels in pick and rolls, he can switch defensively onto guards without missing a beat, and he's unselfish to a fault. His presence would allow Anthony Davis to shift between power forward and center more freely, preserving his health over the long grind of the regular season. With Adebayo on board, the Lakers could roll out lineups that are defensively suffocating while still maintaining fluid offense through LeBron and secondary scorers. But this isn't a one-sided equation. The potential cost of such a move is significant, and it's not just financial. Austin Reaves, one of the names floated in the trade package, has quickly become a fan favorite in Los Angeles. His journey from undrafted rookie to starting shooting guard has made him a symbol of hard work and determination. Reaves brings heart, hustle, and a surprising amount of polish to his game. Losing him wouldn't just be a tactical sacrifice, it would hit the emotional core of the team's fan base. Gabe Vincent and Dalton Knecht also represent key pieces of the Lakers' future. Vincent, though inconsistent last season, has shown he can rise to the occasion in big moments, particularly during his time with the Heat. Knecht, the rookie out of Tennessee, is viewed by some scouts as a hidden gem, an athletic wing with a smooth shooting stroke and untapped potential. Trading these assets would be a gamble, one that could backfire if Adebayo fails to deliver at the level expected of him. And then there's the 2031 first-round pick. While it may seem distant now, draft capital is the currency of control in the NBA. Giving up such a pick could limit the Lakers' options down the line, especially if the post-LeBron era arrives sooner than hoped. If the team stumbles after this season, that pick could turn into a top 10 selection, a painful price to pay for a championship window that ultimately closed too soon. Yet in Los Angeles, risks are part of the brand. The Lakers have always operated under a different kind of pressure, one that demands bold decisions and dramatic moves. It's not just about winning, it's about winning with style, with stars, and with headlines. Bringing in Bam Adebayo would check all those boxes. He's not only a basketball upgrade but a narrative centerpiece, someone who could help define the next chapter of the Lakers' storied saga. What remains uncertain is how this gamble would affect the locker room dynamic. LeBron's leadership has always shaped the culture of the teams he's played on, and integrating a new star requires more than just on-court chemistry. Trust must be built, roles must be clarified, and egos must align. Fortunately, Adebayo is widely respected across the league for his humility and professionalism. If there's anyone who can mesh quickly with a veteran-laden roster, it's him. As speculation continues to swirl, the Lakers find themselves standing at the edge of a precipice. On one side lies caution, continuity, and slow development. On the other side lies a daring leap into the unknown, a move that could reignite championship hopes or unravel their fragile foundation. The decision is looming, and every conversation behind closed doors now carries the weight of legacy. Because in Los Angeles, nothing short of greatness will do. While much of the buzz surrounding the potential blockbuster trade has centered around how it would impact the Los Angeles Lakers, the other franchise at the heart of this deal, the Miami Heat, would also be undergoing a profound transformation. Parting ways with Bam Adebayo, a player who has come to symbolize the Heat's grit, defensive intensity and culture, is no small decision. For Miami, this isn't just a trade, it's a redefinition. Over the past few seasons, Bam has been more than just a starting center. He's been the soul of Erik Spoelstra's defensive schemes, the anchor around which the team's identity was built. Tough, disciplined, and deeply committed to the Heat's ethos, Adebayo represents what Miami basketball has been about since the days of Pat Riley's arrival: relentless effort, toughness, and accountability. Trading him would mark the end of an era defined by blue-collar excellence and defensive dominance. But in the business of the NBA, emotion doesn't always rule. The league demands adaptation. Despite their recent finals appearance in 2023, the Heat have faced difficulties replicating consistent postseason success. Injuries, aging stars, and an over-reliance on an increasingly streaky offense have put a ceiling on Miami's aspirations. As Jimmy Butler continues to age and question marks swirl around the long-term ceiling of their current core, the front office may finally be ready to shift gears. That shift would begin with Austin Reaves, who is not a traditional replacement for Bam in any positional sense, but rather a pivot toward a new vision. Reaves offers something Miami has lacked in recent years: a young guard with a high basketball IQ, court vision, and shot creation who can play both on and off the ball. His versatility would give Erik Spoelstra new offensive tools, allowing the Heat to diversify a system that, at times, has grown predictable. In Reaves, Miami sees a potential foundational player. Though not flashy, his steady production and calm demeanor have drawn comparisons to former Heat favorites like Shane Battier and Goran Dragic, guys who may not make headlines nightly but win you games in the margins. His playoff experience with the Lakers, including clutch performances under pressure, has already proven that he doesn't shrink under the spotlight. In Miami, that matters more than most places. But the Heat wouldn't stop with Reaves. The inclusion of Gabe Vincent, a familiar face who had his breakout moments in Miami before signing with the Lakers, would bring back a tenacious guard who already understands the team's system and expectations. While his time in Los Angeles was marred by injuries and inconsistent minutes, Vincent remains a capable scorer and defender who thrives in structured, disciplined systems, like the one Spoelstra runs. Dalton Knecht, meanwhile, is the true wild card of the deal. The 2024 lottery pick has yet to prove himself in the NBA, but scouts around the league have taken notice of his potential. A strong, athletic wing with a smooth shooting stroke, Knecht brings floor spacing and youthful energy, two assets the current Miami roster sorely needs. His ceiling may be higher than expected, and in the Heat's renowned player development system, he could blossom into something special. Then there's the long-term asset, a 2031 first-round draft pick. While it's impossible to predict what the league, or the Lakers, will look like in 6 years, the uncertainty is what makes this piece so valuable. Should Los Angeles decline in the post-LeBron era, that pick could become a high lottery selection. Even if it doesn't, it's a currency that Miami could use in future trades, giving them flexibility as they navigate a potential rebuild or retool. Still, the risks are enormous. Bam Adebayo is not just statistically important, he's emotionally embedded in the franchise. Losing him could alienate fans, disrupt the locker room, and create a leadership vacuum. There's also no guarantee that Reaves becomes a star, that Knecht fulfills his potential, or that the draft pick amounts to anything substantial. The Heat would essentially be trading certainty for hope, and in the NBA that's often a dangerous game. Yet it's also a necessary one. Stagnation can be just as lethal as poor decision-making. The Heat, as currently constructed, are good, but not good enough. They've danced on the edge of contention for years, always close, always formidable, but rarely dominant. If the goal is to build a sustainable contender for the next decade, difficult choices must be made, even if they come at the cost of losing a franchise cornerstone. For Miami, this trade isn't about immediate gratification. It's about setting the stage for the next great run. Pat Riley and Erik Spoelstra have never feared rebuilding when it serves a larger purpose. The franchise has always found ways to retool, through the draft, through free agency, through smart trades. In Reaves and company, they may see the seeds of the next generation of Heat culture. Grit may still define them, but it could soon come with a new face and a different style. Change is never easy. But in a league that evolves by the minute, bold moves are often what separate the truly great organizations from the merely good. While the headline names and drama of this potential three-team trade have understandably focused on Bam Adebayo and Austin Reaves, there's a third player in the negotiation that is quietly making one of the savviest moves of all: the Atlanta Hawks. Unlike the Lakers or the Heat, the Hawks wouldn't be receiving a star or giving up a franchise piece. Instead, they would be stepping in as a strategic enabler, a behind-the-scenes facilitator absorbing Maxi Kleber's contract in order to grease the wheels of a far more high-profile exchange. On the surface, it seems like a background role. In reality, it's a calculated decision rooted in long-term vision. Over the last few seasons, the Hawks have hovered in a peculiar space, not quite contenders, not quite rebuilders. With Trae Young as the face of the franchise and a revolving door of secondary stars and role players around him, Atlanta has often felt stuck in the middle. Capable of making the playoffs, yes, but never truly threatening the elite of the Eastern Conference. They've been searching for direction, and participating in this kind of deal, despite its limited flash, may help provide exactly that. By taking on Kleber, the Hawks would be absorbing a solid veteran forward with playoff experience and defensive versatility. While not a star, Kleber brings skills that are often undervalued in the chaos of a full NBA season. He can stretch the floor, guard multiple positions, and quietly contribute without demanding touches. On a young Hawks roster that has often lacked defensive focus and maturity, a player like Kleber could provide immediate structure and leadership, especially off the bench or in specific matchups. More importantly, by getting involved in this deal, the Hawks would be signaling their openness to opportunistic, low-risk moves that could position them well for the future. It's not just about acquiring a player, it's about aligning themselves with the larger trade market. Deals like this are how franchises build credibility, relationships, and leverage in future negotiations. In an era of player empowerment and rapid roster turnover, being part of the league's ecosystem of trusted trade partners is an underrated advantage. Financially, Kleber's contract would not significantly hamper Atlanta's flexibility. With other cap maneuvers potentially on the table, including long-rumored interest in moving either Trae Young or DeJounte Murray, adding a mid-tier contract like Kleber's could actually help match salaries in larger deals down the road. In some ways, it's a chess move, one that won't pay off today, but could set up a more powerful strike in the months ahead. There's also the cultural angle. The Hawks have struggled with locker room chemistry in recent years. Discontent, lack of leadership, and internal friction have been widely reported. Bringing in a player like Kleber, known for his professionalism and team-first mindset, might help stabilize things. He's not someone who makes noise or disrupts flow. He fits in, does his job, and elevates those around him. That kind of presence can be valuable, especially on a team trying to find its voice. And then there's the optics. By participating in a trade that shifts the balance of power in both conferences, Atlanta places itself within the storyline. Even without the headline name, they become a part of the bigger picture. A team that helped reshape rosters in Los Angeles and Miami. That sort of relevance, however fleeting, matters in the court of public perception. It signals that the Hawks are not standing still. They are watching, waiting, maneuvering. Critics may argue that the move is too small to matter, that Atlanta's real issues lie deeper within the roster construction or coaching philosophy. And to some extent, they're right. Taking on Maxi Kleber won't fix everything. But no transformation happens overnight. Sometimes it starts with small, smart decisions that open doors. If the Hawks view this as one step in a longer path, one that involves building around newer, younger pieces and creating a more coherent identity, then this trade could be an important piece of that puzzle. It's also worth noting that the Eastern Conference is in flux. Boston and Milwaukee remain strong, but teams like Philadelphia, Cleveland, and even Miami are entering uncertain periods. A smartly run Atlanta squad, with the right mix of veterans, development, and opportunistic trades, could find itself rising in the standings more quickly than expected. In that light, every move, no matter how quiet, carries potential weight. As this trade scenario continues to evolve, Atlanta's decision to get involved may end up looking less like a background play and more like the first note in a new symphony. While all eyes are on the Stars changing jerseys, the Hawks might be doing something just as meaningful, changing their future one subtle move at a time. With the possibility of acquiring Bam Adebayo on the horizon, the Los Angeles Lakers stand at the threshold of forming something potentially transformative. A new core built around defense, versatility, and championship experience. While much has been said about the desire to support LeBron James in his final years, this trade could offer something even more valuable. A bridge between eras, an opportunity to blend present urgency with future security. If the trade were to happen, the Lakers' projected lineup would feature LeBron James, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, and possibly Luka Doncic or DeAndre Ayton, depending on how speculative reporting unfolds. Though Doncic and Ayton are not part of this specific rumored deal, there are whispers around the league suggesting that the Lakers are far from finished making aggressive moves. For now, focusing on the confirmed elements, Bam's inclusion would elevate Los Angeles into elite defensive territory. Together, he and Davis could form the most dynamic and switchable frontcourt duo in the league. Adebayo's ability to cover guards on the perimeter, contest shots at the rim, and function as a secondary playmaker would allow the Lakers to construct a roster around defensive fluidity. In an NBA increasingly defined by pick-and-roll efficiency and three-point shooting, having two big men who can both protect the rim and move laterally is a rare and dangerous asset. It would give head coach Darvin Ham the flexibility to deploy different schemes, drop coverage, switch heavy defenses, and even zone tactics, all while keeping opposing offenses off balance. But defense is only part of the equation. Offensively, Bam Adebayo brings a cerebral presence. His short-roll decision-making, dribble handoffs, and passing out of the high post would add new dimensions to the Lakers' offense. No longer would the team need to rely solely on LeBron's creation or Davis's post-ups. With Adebayo involved in the offense, ball movement becomes more fluid, the tempo more controlled, and the spacing more consistent. Though not a volume scorer, Bam's presence naturally enhances the effectiveness of everyone around him. Perhaps the most intriguing consequence of Bam's arrival would be the redefinition of roles within the team. LeBron could finally afford to take a step back in terms of minutes and offensive responsibility, focusing instead on preserving his body for deep playoff runs. Anthony Davis, often forced into uncomfortable matchups at center, would have the freedom to operate in his preferred power forward position more consistently. That alone could increase his availability and reduce wear and tear, a constant concern for the Lakers in recent seasons. It's also worth considering what Bam Adebayo's presence would mean symbolically for the Lakers. In a franchise known for its stars, Bam is a different breed. He doesn't command the spotlight with flair, but with grit and consistency. In many ways, he embodies the type of player the Lakers have missed in recent years, a younger version of what Pau Gasol once was, reliable, smart, and adaptable. The Lakers haven't just needed talent, they've needed identity. Bam could be part of building that foundation again. Beyond the immediate on-court fit, there are implications for the team's long-term planning. LeBron won't be around forever. Davis, though still elite, is approaching his 30s and has had durability concerns. Bam Adebayo, at just 27 years old, could become the franchise's cornerstone post-LeBron. He has several prime years ahead of him, and if the Lakers play their cards right, he could be the central figure in their next competitive cycle. Of course, the success of such a vision depends on more than just one move. The Lakers would need to surround this new core with capable shooters, versatile wings, and dependable bench pieces. But acquiring Adebayo would give them a legitimate framework, something that has been lacking since their 2020 championship. It's no coincidence that their most successful modern roster featured a dominant defensive identity. Rebuilding that DNA through Bam would be a return to form. There's also a marketing element to consider. Though not as flashy as other stars, Adebayo is a respected name among players, coaches, and executives. His work ethic, professionalism, and consistent performances make him an ideal teammate and a locker room leader. For a franchise often defined by narratives as much as performance, Bam fits seamlessly into both. Yet none of this is guaranteed. The risk lies in chemistry, injury, and the unpredictable nature of NBA seasons. However, for the Lakers, the potential reward outweighs the gamble. Bam Adebayo wouldn't just be an acquisition, he would be a statement. A signal that this team, even with an aging LeBron, is not done. That they still intend to compete at the highest level and build something that extends beyond one final push. And in Los Angeles, where legacy is everything, that could be the most important move of all. Every move the Los Angeles Lakers make these days seems to orbit around a single gravitational force: LeBron James. As one of the greatest players in the history of the sport approaches the end of his illustrious career, each season feels more urgent, more fragile, and more significant. That urgency lies at the very center of this potential Bam Adebayo, Austin Reaves trade. It's not just about building for the future, it's about doing everything possible to seize the fleeting present. LeBron James isn't just a superstar. He's a symbol of sustained greatness, a walking legend whose presence alone makes any team relevant. But with greatness comes pressure, and in LeBron's case the pressure is layered. The pressure to compete for championships, to lead by example, to mentor younger players, and, above all, to end his career on his terms with another ring, not a quiet fade into mediocrity. The Lakers know this. They've known it since he signed in 2018. Since then, every roster decision has been made with the question in mind: does this help us win now? The answer has not always been yes. While the 2020 title inside the Orlando bubble was a testament to the organization's ability to strike when it mattered most, the years that followed were more turbulent. Injuries, inconsistent roster construction, and missed opportunities defined the post-championship stretch. Now, as the 2025 season approaches, the Lakers are staring directly into the final chapter of LeBron's career. Whether he plays one more year or three, the clock is ticking, and loudly. That's why the idea of bringing in Bam Adebayo carries so much weight. It's not just a trade, it's a lifeline. A chance to buy more time, not just in terms of on-court success, but in convincing LeBron that this team is worth staying with. Because, make no mistake, the threat of LeBron leaving is very real. Though under contract, he has the leverage to influence every major decision the franchise makes. Whether it's through public comments, off-season meetings with management, or even his body language during games, LeBron knows how to send signals, and the Lakers have become experts at reading them. His silence can be louder than most players' speeches. His approval or disapproval shapes headlines and shifts the tone of an entire season. Adding Bam Adebayo would send the exact kind of message LeBron has likely been waiting to hear: we're not giving up. We're still chasing rings. It tells him the front office is still aggressive, still thinking big, still willing to sacrifice the future to maximize the now. For a player who's given everything to the sport for over 2 decades, that kind of organizational commitment matters. There's also the matter of fit. LeBron thrives when surrounded by high IQ players who understand spacing, movement, and timing. Bam checks all those boxes. His ability to make reads, set timely screens, and operate in the middle of the floor would ease some of the physical burden on LeBron, who, despite his age, continues to play at an elite level, but not without cost. Preserving LeBron for the playoffs has become more critical than ever. With Bam, the Lakers could give him more nights off without watching the entire system collapse. At the same time, Bam's arrival would allow LeBron to do what he does best: orchestrate. With a younger star willing to do the dirty work on defense and contribute on offense without needing the ball constantly, LeBron could focus on dictating pace, controlling games, and elevating his teammates. This isn't about reducing LeBron's role, it's about optimizing it. Of course, the loss of Austin Reaves in this equation complicates things. LeBron has developed chemistry with Reaves, often praising his maturity, decision-making, and ability to hit clutch shots. Trading away someone LeBron trusts would not be taken lightly. That's why the Lakers must ensure that the incoming talent more than makes up for the outgoing pieces. In this case, they're betting that the leap in defensive presence and long-term reliability with Adebayo justifies the trade-off. There's also the emotional angle. LeBron has been chasing a 5th title for years. It's not just about catching Jordan's six or about individual accolades, it's about legacy. About proving that even in the latter stages of his career, he can still lead a team to greatness. For him, every season is a chance to write history. But he can't do it alone, and he knows it. In private, LeBron has made it clear. He wants to compete. He wants the organization to match his ambition. And if they don't, retirement or relocation might become more than just whispers. That possibility looms large, especially with his son, Bronny James, now making waves and generating attention as he enters the professional ranks. The idea of LeBron playing his final season alongside his son has already become the NBA's most anticipated storyline. Whether that happens in Los Angeles or somewhere else could hinge on decisions like this one. Trading for Bam Adebayo might not only keep LeBron invested, it could become the difference between another championship run and a disappointing farewell tour. For the Lakers, the decision isn't just about talent acquisition. It's about honoring the legacy of one of the game's greatest while building a team worthy of carrying it forward. The window is narrow, the stakes are enormous, and the next move could define not only a season but a chapter in basketball history. The thought of the Miami Heat without Bam Adebayo is difficult to imagine. 4 years, Bam has been the embodiment of the franchise's ethos. Tough, disciplined, relentless. He wasn't just the team's most consistent defender or one of its most productive players. He was, in many ways, the personification of Heat culture. Trading him would mean not only a change in strategy, but also a rupture in the psychological identity of the team. Since the days of Pat Riley's arrival, the Heat have cultivated a distinct brand of basketball. Defense first, grind it out, no excuses basketball. Their practices are legendary for their intensity. Their player development system is praised across the league. Players who don't buy in, no matter how talented, don't last long in Miami. In Bam, they found a willing and able soldier, someone who not only met the standards but raised them. He was vocal in the locker room, tough on the floor, and humble off of it. Losing that kind of presence doesn't just change the rotation, it changes the air in the room. And yet, it might be time. The NBA has evolved quickly over the last few years. Speed, shooting, and playmaking now carry more weight than pure physicality or post defense. The Heat's formula has worked in spurts, deep playoff runs, a finals appearance in the bubble, another in 2023, but cracks have started to show. Offensively, the team often stalls in the half court. Jimmy Butler, while brilliant, is aging. Tyler Herro has yet to become the franchise centerpiece many expected. And Bam, for all his gifts, has limitations as a first or second offensive option. That's why this rumored trade is so intriguing. It's not about giving up on Bam, it's about realigning the franchise for the next phase. In Austin Reaves, Dalton Knecht, and Gabe Vincent, the Heat would receive something they desperately need: offensive dynamism, youth, and upside. Reaves offers a different energy than anyone currently on the Heat's roster. He isn't flashy, but he's clever. He's methodical in his decisions, confident in his shot, and capable of stepping into big moments without hesitation. He has the kind of quiet intensity that would resonate in Miami. Under Spoelstra's guidance, and within the Heat's demanding structure, Reaves could blossom into more than a complementary guard. He could be a leader, a foundational piece in a younger, faster, more fluid offensive system. Dalton Knecht remains the great unknown in this equation, but that's also where his value lies. He's raw, yes, but gifted, athletic, aggressive, and unafraid to take chances. That's exactly the kind of player Miami loves to mold. In a system that rewards conditioning, attention to detail, and effort on both ends, Knecht could surprise many. If the Heat believe in his ceiling, they won't hesitate to roll the dice. They've done it before, with Tyler Herro, with Duncan Robinson, even with Bam himself. Gabe Vincent's return, while more subtle in terms of impact, would still be meaningful. He's familiar with the Heat's expectations and playbook. He's battle-tested and unafraid to step into big moments. As a backup guard or spot starter, Vincent can fill in wherever needed, something Spoelstra values deeply in his rotating lineups. Then there's the Longview asset, the 2031 first-round pick. While it might seem like a throwaway piece at first glance, for a forward-thinking franchise like Miami, it's an insurance policy. In 6 years, the Lakers could be a completely different team, perhaps without LeBron, without Davis, without structure. That pick could turn into a lottery selection, or even a top 5 opportunity. If it doesn't, it still gives the Heat another chip for future deals. But make no mistake, the emotional cost would be real. Spoelstra has openly praised Adebayo as the heartbeat of the team. Teammates respect him. Fans adore him. Moving on from such a figure will not be painless. There will be backlash, skepticism, and possibly even short-term regression. But in Miami, decisions are rarely made out of emotion. They are made out of necessity, strategy, and an unwavering commitment to winning. If the Heat decide to make this trade, they won't be doing it blindly. They will be betting on their culture's ability to adapt, to evolve, and to mold a new core. They will trust their developmental infrastructure to unlock new levels in Reaves and connect. And most importantly, they will be accepting that sometimes, even beloved foundations must be rebuilt. Because in Miami, culture doesn't reside in one player, it lives in the walls, in the weight room, in the film sessions. Bam may have embodied it, but it's bigger than him. The Heat believe in that. They always have. And if this trade comes to pass, it will be a reminder that culture can endure, even through loss. Blockbuster trades in the NBA rarely come without consequences beyond the box score. They ripple through locker rooms, unsettle roles, and force teams to rediscover who they are, often under the bright lights of national scrutiny. The proposed deal involving Bam Adebayo and Austin Reaves is no different. If executed, it would instantly reshape the dynamics of both the Lakers and the Heat, not just on the floor but behind the scenes where chemistry, hierarchy, and ego must realign. For the Los Angeles Lakers, the pressure of expectations would intensify overnight. Acquiring Bam Adebayo would be interpreted as an unequivocal win-now move. The message would be loud and clear. This is a team built for immediate contention, not for slow development or cautious experimentation. In a city where the spotlight never fades and every misstep is magnified, the margin for error would shrink drastically. The Lakers' locker room, already filled with big personalities and accomplished veterans, would have to integrate a new voice into its chorus. While Adebayo is not known for being loud or confrontational, his presence would naturally affect the team's balance. Anthony Davis, long seen as the anchor of the defense, would now be joined by someone who plays a similar role, potentially even better in certain areas. Navigating that overlap would require humility, communication, and strategic coaching from Darvin Ham. LeBron James, meanwhile, would again find himself in the position of cultural conductor. More than anyone, he understands how fragile team chemistry can be after a major transaction. He's experienced firsthand how talent alone doesn't guarantee cohesion. If he believes in Adebayo's fit, he'll find ways to make the transition smooth. If he doesn't, it won't be hard to sense that tension. Everything LeBron does carries weight, and his buy-in will be critical to the deal's long-term success. There's also the challenge of what's lost. Austin Reaves wasn't just a promising guard. He was a connective piece, a player who rarely made mistakes, kept the ball moving, and played within himself. Replacing that sort of chemistry doesn't happen overnight, especially with someone like Adebayo, whose position and playstyle are fundamentally different. Reaves and LeBron had developed a synergy built on trust. That rhythm will be hard to replicate. For the Miami Heat, the adjustment would be even more dramatic. Erik Spoelstra, one of the best tacticians in the league, would need to reinvent his team's identity without the defensive pillar he's leaned on for years. Bam Adebayo was the engine behind many of Miami's switching and trapping schemes. His absence would require not just new players, but a new philosophy, one likely centered on Reaves, Harrow, and a more offensively oriented structure. This transition brings opportunity and risk. Reaves is a capable initiator, but he's not Bam. He won't erase mistakes on defense, he won't dominate the paint, and he won't cover up breakdowns with sheer athleticism. What he does bring, however, is creativity and balance on the perimeter. Spoelstra would likely pivot to a more motion-based offense, trusting Reaves to read defenses and generate quality looks through movement and timing. Connect and Vincent would also need to assimilate quickly. Connect, in particular, would be thrust into a demanding environment. Miami is not a place that tolerates laziness or softness. Young players are expected to compete from day one. For Connect, that could either be a launching pad or a trial by fire. If he rises to the occasion, he could find himself in the rotation sooner than expected. If not, Miami won't hesitate to sit him until he's ready. Internally, the Heat would need to establish new leadership. Jimmy Butler remains the emotional compass of the team, but with Bam gone, a significant part of the team's internal accountability structure would vanish. Reaves doesn't have the same personality, and Harrow, though confident, has not yet stepped fully into that leadership role. That creates a void that Spoelstra and the coaching staff must address, not just with XS and OS but with culture management. And then there's the unknown. Every trade is a gamble. No amount of analytics or scouting can predict how a player will adapt to new teammates, a new city, and a new system. Sometimes the pieces fit perfectly. Other times, things unravel in ways no one could have predicted. The chemistry experiment that is professional basketball is always volatile. One misalignment, on or off the court, can disrupt everything. In this case, both teams are placing bets with high stakes. The Lakers are betting that Bam's impact will be immediate, transformative, and sustainable. That he will elevate them into the top tier of contenders and extend LeBron's title window. The Heat are betting on their ability to develop, adapt, and shift from a defense-first philosophy to one more dynamic and offensively balanced, led by younger players. Neither side is wrong in its logic. But logic doesn't always win in sports. Emotion, timing, health, luck, they all play their parts. And the ultimate test of this potential trade won't be decided on paper. It will unfold across weeks and months, through injuries, losing streaks, playoff runs, and the quiet battles no one sees. The ones that happen in film sessions, locker rooms, and late-night conversations between players learning to trust one another. What's clear is that if this deal happens, both franchises will be crossing a point of no return. They'll be stepping into the unknown, armed with their philosophies, their cultures, and their belief in the people they've chosen. Because in the NBA, sometimes you don't find out who you really are until everything changes. While fans often focus on the on-court consequences of NBA trades, who scores more points, who defends better, who wins more games, there is an entire world behind these decisions driven not by basketball but by business. This potential trade involving Bam Adebayo and Austin Reaves is no exception. In fact, behind the scenes, it might be the financial and branding implications that ultimately push the deal across the finish line. The NBA, at its core, is as much a global entertainment product as it is a professional sports league. Every decision made by a front office, especially in major markets like Los Angeles and Miami, is filtered through the lens of economics. Salaries, cap space, luxury tax thresholds, television ratings, jersey sales, sponsorship deals, and marketability all shape what trades are feasible and which ones are merely fantasy. In this particular scenario, the Lakers are eyeing more than just a defensive upgrade in Bam Adebayo. They're also looking at what his presence does to the brand of the franchise. Adebayo is respected league-wide, considered a true professional, and possesses the kind of charisma that fits neatly into the Los Angeles media machine. He's not just a player who makes winning plays, he's a marketable personality. With LeBron nearing retirement, the Lakers must begin preparing for a future where someone else carries the commercial torch. Bam, while not as flashy as LeBron or Kobe, has the potential to be part of that transition. From a business standpoint, the Lakers also have long-term financial considerations to weigh. The NBA's new collective bargaining agreement introduces stricter penalties for teams operating above the second tax apron, making expensive super teams harder to maintain. Adebayo's contract, though hefty, is predictable. Locking in a star-caliber big man for the next few years gives the front office stability while they work to develop or acquire supporting talent at lower costs. Additionally, if LeBron were to retire in the next season or two, the team could retool around Bam and Anthony Davis with more cap flexibility than they currently enjoy. For the Miami Heat, the motivations are different but no less business-oriented. Adebayo, as beloved as he is, represents a large chunk of the team's salary sheet. Moving him now, before his value potentially dips or before the team becomes too financially rigid, could be a proactive way to reset. By acquiring Austin Reaves on a cheaper deal, Dalton Connect on a rookie contract, and Gabe Vincent, Miami would be shifting toward a younger, more affordable core. That matters immensely in a market where every dollar counts, and where maintaining cap flexibility has been a long-standing goal under Pat Riley's leadership. But the most undervalued asset in this entire deal may be the 2031 first-round pick. In trade discussions, future picks serve as a form of financial insurance. They allow a franchise to hold on to potential even as they make win-now moves. Miami in particular has a reputation for using picks creatively, either in the draft to find diamonds in the rough or as key chips in bigger trades down the line. That pick, though distant, could become the most valuable part of the entire return package. In a post-LeBron NBA, that selection might land high in the lottery, bringing in a future star on a cost-controlled rookie deal. For a smart front office like Miami's, it's a no-brainer to secure such a long-term asset. There's also the marketing component to consider. In recent years, Austin Reaves has become increasingly popular with fans, not just in Los Angeles but internationally. His underdog story, calm demeanor, and surprisingly flashy performances have earned him a growing following. In Miami, he would immediately become a central marketing figure. If he performs well, the Heat could ride his brand as part of their next wave of marketable stars. Still, none of this is simple. Sponsors, television partners, and internal stakeholders all have opinions. A move of this magnitude would require sign-off from owners, cap experts, and marketing executives alike. Behind every trade call is a conference room filled with data, projections, and financial modeling software showing dozens of what-if scenarios. The media narrative also plays a role. In cities like Los Angeles and Miami, perception is currency. How a trade is received by the press, by the fan base, and by former players turned analysts can influence everything from ticket sales to season momentum. For the Lakers, appearing aggressive, doing whatever it takes to win with LeBron, reinforces the franchise's identity as the league's boldest player. For the Heat, making a trade that looks both forward-thinking and shrewd strengthens their image as one of the most strategic franchises in basketball. And let's not forget agents. High-profile trades often involve months of communication not just between teams, but between front offices and player representatives. Contracts must be respected. Player preferences, though not always decisive, are weighed carefully. No team wants to acquire a player who's unhappy, or who plans to bolt at the first opportunity. The business side of basketball isn't just about dollars, it's about relationships, trust, and long-term vision. In that context, this rumored trade is a masterclass in balancing ambition with pragmatism. Both teams are thinking about more than just who scores what. They're evaluating risk, narrative, growth, and survival. They're treating the NBA for what it is in the modern age. A business built on moments, personalities, and the constant pursuit of relevance. Adebayo for Reaves isn't just a basketball decision. It's a statement about how franchises evolve, how stars transition, and how brands are built and rebuilt in a league where change is constant and standing still is the only true failure. As the dust settles on the speculation surrounding the Bam Adebayo-Austin Reaves trade, one thing remains clear. The NBA landscape is ever shifting, a landscape where change is the only constant. What this deal symbolizes goes far beyond a simple player swap. It is emblematic of the evolving nature of basketball, the business behind it, and the dreams of franchises and fans alike. If the trade comes to fruition, the Los Angeles Lakers will emerge as a team with renewed firepower, a Big Four led by LeBron James, Luka Doncic, DeAndre Ayton, and now Bam Adebayo. This quartet would embody a blend of experience, versatility, and athleticism rarely seen in the league. For LeBron, it could be the final piece needed to chase that elusive last championship ring, a crowning achievement to a career already filled with brilliance. However, with such star power comes enormous expectations and pressures. The Lakers' front office, coaching staff, and players will be tasked with weaving these diverse talents into a coherent unit capable of navigating the rigors of a grueling season and the brutal playoff gauntlet. Chemistry will be tested, egos managed, and strategies adjusted on the fly. The margin for error shrinks when the spotlight intensifies. On the other side, the Miami Heat will enter a new chapter. one defined by youth, flexibility, and a renewed commitment to development. Trading Bam Adebayo would be both an end and a beginning, the end of an era where toughness and defensive dominance define the team, and the beginning of a potentially more fluid, offensive-minded identity. Austin Reaves, Dalton Knecht, and Gabe Vincent represent not just players, but hope for growth, surprise, and reinvention. Miami's front office will face the challenge of cultivating a new culture while honoring the legacy of Heat basketball. Spoelstra's leadership will be crucial in guiding this transformation. His ability to adapt, innovate, and inspire is well documented, but the road ahead is uncertain and filled with hurdles. The broader NBA will watch closely. Trades of this magnitude send shockwaves throughout the league, influencing how other teams build, trade, and strategize. It reminds everyone that star players are assets, not guarantees, that flexibility and foresight are as valuable as raw talent, and that the balance between winning now and building for the future is delicate and precarious. For fans, the trade offers fresh narratives, new rivalries, and renewed excitement. It challenges loyalties, sparks debates, and fuels the endless conversations that make basketball more than a game. It makes it a shared passion. Most importantly, it underscores the humanity within the sport. Behind every contract, every draft pick, every headline are players with dreams, families, and aspirations. Bam Adebayo and Austin Reaves are not just pieces in a trade, they are individuals whose lives will change with the decisions made by front offices thousands of miles away. Their journeys, struggles, and triumphs remind us that basketball is not only about numbers and trophies but about growth, resilience, and connection. The future of the NBA is unwritten. It is shaped by the choices teams make today and by the players who step onto the court tomorrow. Whether this trade becomes one of the defining moments of the decade or a footnote in history, it will be remembered as a bold move, one that dared to shift the balance of power and redefine what's possible. In the end, the story of Bam Adebayo and Austin Reaves is a story of change, of endings and beginnings, of risk and reward, of legacy and ambition. It is a story that echoes far beyond the hardwood, into the hearts of fans and the soul of the game itself. Because in basketball, as in life, the only certainty is that nothing stays the same for long, and that sometimes the greatest triumphs come from the boldest leaps into the unknown.